this year in the starting position. Welcome back. Well, welcome back to the major leagues. It's been a long time since he has been here, and I'm sure he is glad to be back.
So we're ready for baseball. Wasdin was acquired only a couple of days ago from the Pirates organization. Here he's starting this game against the Yankees. Tonight's ball game on CBS 2 can be heard in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your television. SAP is brought to you by Jeep, only in a Jeep. While Alfonso Soriano will lead off. He was 2 for 9 against the Indians in the series, where the Yankees lost 2 of 3. And Wasdin deals up and in, 1-0.
Doesn't take long for the scouting report to get to you, no matter how long it's been since you pitched in the major leagues. With Soriano crowding the plate, it's now out that they're going to make him hit that hard stuff inside.
Soriano lost one to right field. Jason Worth is there, backs up a couple of steps, 1 away. Take a look at the Blue Jay defense that will be behind John Wasdin. You know that Jason Worth is in right, Vernon Wells outstanding defensively in center, and Reed Johnson is over in left. In the infield, rookie of the year Eric Hinsky at third. Orlando Woodward is the shortstop. Orlando Hudson, or should I say Chris Woodward, is the shortstop. Orlando Hudson at second. Carlos Delgado, we will detail his unbelievable first half. He's at first base. Tom Wilson behind the plate. And as we mentioned, John Wasdin is on the mound. Here's Derek Jeter. Had a good series in Cleveland. 6 for 9. He's 13 for his last 20. 20 for his last 36. Swing and foul tipped into the glove of Wilson. 0-1. This is a great opportunity for Wasdin. The Blue Jays really have 2 starters that they can count on. Roy Halladay, tomorrow's starter, and Kelvin Escobar, the starter on Sunday. After that, it's a crapshoot.
Well, when you talk about winning, you talk to Joe Torre. He says it all starts with pitching. This Toronto Blue Jay ball club, they could hit with anybody. In fact, they're second in the American League as far as hitting is concerned. And Joe has reiterated many times about this Yankee ball club. If the pitching isn't there, they probably don't have a chance.
Well, the Yankee bullpen again yesterday lost the game in the 10th inning, specifically Sterling Hitchcock. Chris Hammond had done a good job. 2 innings of scoreless relief of Roger Clemens, but then Sterling Hitchcock came in to start at the bottom of the 10th and never got an out. Count 2-2. And the reason that Joe went with Hitchcock, every other reliever was available out there. He won at length in an extra inning game, and he felt that Hitchcock, who had gone the longest of any reliever, he had given them a 4 1/3 outing one time this year, was better able to give them length, but he never had an opportunity to give them length. He couldn't get anybody out.
Yeah, Joe was talking about we got the game from Clemens that we wanted. We had a chance to win. We just couldn't push the run across to get it done.
The 2-2 to Jeter. Foul back.
All you ever ask of your starters is just to give you a chance to win a ball game. You never know what's going to happen during the course of a game. Whether there'll be some base running mistakes, whether there'll be some errors that may cost you a game, but give yourself a chance, and that's what Clemens did yesterday. It just didn't happen for him. First time ever since Jacobs Field that the Cleveland Indians.
There's a line drive to left field, a base hit for Jeter.
I mentioned the first time that the Indians have won a series from the Yankees since Jacobs Field was built. Well, it's a breaking ball that hangs in the strike zone, and Jeter, in that good sweet swing he is, you can see it hanging just a little bit high and inside, and Jeter made him pay for it with a base hit to left field. 7
for his last 10 now, and 14 for his last 21. So that is 667 over the last 21 at bats. Here's Jason Giambi. Giambi did not have a good series in Cleveland. 1 for 10. Missed that one, fouled it back.
Well, what they're talking about, when you look at John Wasdin, as we take a look at Giambi's numbers, pretty impressive numbers moving into the All-Star game. He will be an All-Star. But Carlos Tosca is saying, and along with J.P. Ricciardi, they're saying, well, with this call-up and the mix of pitchers that they have brought up here recently, and some of the ones that they have sent down that they were counting on early in the season, we're hoping to catch lightning in a bottle.
It's funny, Bobby, over the last 3 weeks, the Blue Jays started out being sellers in the trade market. Then when they pulled it within 1 game, there was thought that they might be buyers. Now they're teetering between buyers and sellers. They don't exactly know which way to go. High pop-up, shallow right field. Backing up is Hudson, and he'll put it away for the second out of the inning. The umpires in tonight's game: Gary Darling is behind the plate. Chris Guccione is at first. Jerry Meals at second, and Larry Vanover is over at third.
Well, that buyer or seller market pretty much will tell before the July 31st deadline how they play against the Red Sox or the Yankees. They've already been swept by the Red Sox the first 3 games before the Yankees move in for these 3 games. It's not going to be an easy task for them, as starting off the year, you know how flat they were the first part of the year, because they had almost the same amount of games against some really tough ball clubs, and they got off to a really bad start.
It's interesting because this weekend could tell them whether they're buyers or sellers. If they get swept, they're 11 games out. And if they sweep, they're 5 games out. And that's a completely different outlook. Look at that. That's a 6-game swing on whether they should buy or sell. The 1-0. 2-0.
But on the other hand, J.P. Ricciardi said before the season started that they didn't expect to win this year. And all of a sudden they find themselves in that position where they have to make a decision on whether they want to really. That's J.P. Ricciardi there. He's taken over as the general manager here, making the moves. And good position to be in because they feel like they're a little bit further ahead at this point of what their 5-year plan was. So whether they buy or whether they sell before this year's over with, they still feel positive about where they are.
Well, JP said a couple of weeks ago when they had closed to within 1 of the Yankees that they were at least 2 years ahead of schedule. And that would change his thinking about buying or selling. Jeter hustles back.
A lot of people feel that Shannon Stewart, no matter what happens, that he could be the one that would be leaving this ball club. Stewart making about $5.5 million and playing left field, and I think they have a kid out there that they could count on now who's playing tonight. This Reed Johnson. He's young, but he's energetic. He wants to play, and he does a lot of good things for them.
And there's almost no chance that Shannon Stewart would re-sign with them next year because they wouldn't want to give him that sort of money. So that's one guy you could look for to be dealt within the next couple of weeks. It's according to what they could get for him. The 3-1 runner goes, and the vacated hole allows Bernie Williams to ground one through. Jeter will go to third. And the Yankees have runners on first and third. That's the first time that Jeter has gone to third here at Skydome since he dislocated his left shoulder in the opening game of the year.
Yeah, Ken Huckabee was the catcher at that time when that vicious collision happened at third. And Jeter took off with 2 men out. You can see the ball, the 2-seamer going away from Bernie. And not trying to pull it, he finds a hole on the left side because Woodward at shortstop, you can see he was covering the bag for Jeter coming down there. So that left a gaping hole between short and third.
Now runners on the corners with 2 outs, and the slumping Hideki Matsui comes to the plate. Jeter's on third. Matsui at the plate at 1 for his last 19. And the pitch is up and away. In fact, in Cleveland, he was hitless in 12 at bats, and the average is down now to an even 300. One of the Yankee All-Stars. He will start in the outfield Tuesday in Chicago. That is punched down the right field line. Fair ball, it's trouble. It is a fair ball. Fielded in the corner by Jason Worth. Jeter scores. Bernie will stop at third. And Matsui breaks an 0 for 12 Schneid. Picks up an RBI, and the Yankees have a 1-0 lead. That's his 66 run batted in.
And something the Yankees have not been that good in, and that's driving in that run with less than 2 outs. Those runners in scoring position have haunted the Yankees all year long. But this time Matsui finds some space down the right field line, and a 2-out base hit puts the Yankees on top. The Yankees lead all of baseball with men left on base.
Here's Posada. Posada 2 for 8 in Cleveland. He'll be the starting catcher for the American League in the All-Star game. 1-0.
What puts pressure on the Blue Jays? We were talking about the bullpen, and the bullpen not doing that well for Toronto. If they don't get some innings out of their starters, it just continues to put that pressure on the Blue Jay bullpen.
1-0. There's so much pressure on the bullpen, Bobby, and the starters have been so bad that right now, as they head to the All-Star break, the Blue Jays are actually carrying 8 pitchers in their bullpen. 8. 6 righties and 2 lefties. There's a strike.
They're able to do that simply because of the Halladay and Escobar coming back on 3 days rest, so they don't need that extra starter. In fact, they sent down their big, tall left-hander, Mark Hendrickson, because they didn't need him until well after the All-Star break, so they want him to pitch at least in the minor leagues.
First base is open, and the count now 3-1 on Posada. Robin Ventura is on deck. A very good hitter's pitch, 3-1. You could sit on something, guess something, and try to drive it. Not a sure thing he'll get a strike because, as I mentioned, first base is open. Does get a strike. Pretty good pitch at the knees on the inside corner.
Yeah, Watson took a little bit off of that, and that was down and away. And like any good hitter, if it's not in your zone, especially if it's not the pitch that you're looking for, you can see the changeup.
Jorge is not adverse to taking the walk, 4th place in the American League with 60 walks. The 3-2. He's now got 61.
And look who's coming up with the bases loaded.
Robin Ventura needs some of that old magic back. 16 grand slams for Ventura as Gil Patterson, the pitching coach, wants to get out there and talk with John Wasdin, but Robin Ventura needs something to snap him out of this slump. 0 for 17, 1 for his last 21, and 3 for his last 34.
Well, Joe feels like that Robin the last couple of times out have hit the ball well and at least good enough to get him a start tonight as the designated hitter.
It's somewhat curious in a game in which Andy Pettitte is starting. Andy has that cutter that rides into right-handers. You need a very good defensive player at third base. Joe's electing to have Robin Ventura be the DH and Enrique Wilson be the third baseman.
Well, Robin has had some problems with his knee, and so I think Joe feels like that Enrique Wilson has a little bit more versatility now at third base than Robin does because of that sore knee. So I think that's the reason Enrique is playing third.
Bernie Williams is at third, talking with Willie Randolph. Hideki Matsui at second, and Jorge Posada over at first. Ventura is at the plate. You saw that stat. He's now 1 for 11 this year with the bases loaded. Wasdin pours over a strike, 0-1. Yankees lead 1-0, but boy, they could really do some damage here for a red-hot Andy Pettitte if Robin Ventura gets a big base hit. Leads all active players with 16 grand slams. Manny Ramirez next with 15. Wasdin staying away in the count, 1-1.
Is it just me, Michael, but this year it seems like every time Ventura comes to the plate, the bases are loaded for him.
It is amazing. Obviously, this is at least his 12th time to come to the plate with the bases loaded.
I would say at least 12 times.
1-1. There was one game, Bobby, he came up 3 times.
3 times in the game, yeah.
Struck out twice, and then he walked once. So that's why when he's 1 for 11, I'm saying at least his 12th time, because that wouldn't be in the 1 for 11 when he walked. Or if he had a sac fly. 2-1. That's a big pitch for Wasdin. What a difference between 3-1 and 2-2.
And it was a breaking ball low and inside, and Ventura was a little bit out in front, so Wasdin took something off of it. That's that changeup again, the same one that he threw to Posada on 3-1. I think Robin thought maybe it was a little bit too low, but it was a good pitch.
2-2. He struck him out. 91-mile-an-hour fastball up and away, and Ventura's struggles continue. Wasdin works out of big trouble. 1 run, though, for the Yankees. 3 hits, no errors, 3 men left. Yankees 1, Blue Jays coming to bat. Well, the Yankees get 1, and they leave 3 ducks on the pond in the top of the first inning. Now is the Blue Jays' chance against Andy Pettitte. Blue Jays starting lineup brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. Get the feeling, Toyota. Shannon Stewart, the DH, will lead off. Look at the numbers against Pettitte. 22 for 50. That's good for 440 on the batting average. Reed Johnson, the left fielder, who hit second. Hitting third and playing center field, Vernon Wells. Red hot first baseman, all-star Carlos Delgado. He'll clean up. Batting fifth and catching, Tom Wilson. The number 6 hitter is the right fielder, Jason Worth. Third baseman Eric Hinsky will hit seventh. Batting eighth and playing second base is Orlando Hudson. And Chris Woodward, the shortstop, will bat ninth for Carlos Tosca.
And you talked about red hot. Andy Pettitte, he has won 5 in a row. He will make his 19th start, looking for his 11th win. 122 hits and 109 2/3 innings. And Andy Pettitte, in his last outing, was one of the most impressive outings that he has had in a long, long time. Scouting report. We talked about that big game that he pitched against the Boston Red Sox after the Yankees had lost 2. He's a big gamer. Had it all. He had all the pitches in that game. He had control. Cage the cat. He needs to try to figure out a way to stop Delgado. Delgado hitting .353 with 5 home runs off of Pettitte.
And the pitch to Shannon Stewart is outside. Now Bobby's being bilingual there because Delgado is the cat in Spanish. I didn't know you could speak Spanish.
That's the only word I know.
The 1-0 outside. We mentioned Shannon Stewart is probably on his way out of Toronto. Makes about $5.56 million. This is the final year of his contract, the 6-year big leaguer. So he'll be a free agent at the end of the season. And the Blue Jay organization, Bobby, is absolutely loaded with outfield prospects. I mean, big-time prospects. And they have no room for Stewart, and they're trying to cut salary, and that's the perfect move.
And it is. They have a couple of them right here, as a matter of fact. Worth in right field tonight, and Reed in left field.
Driven out to deep right field, giving chase is Mondesi on the run, looking up. See ya. A home run, Shannon Stewart, and the game is tied at 1.
One thing that this Toronto Blue Jay ball club can do, they can swing that lumber, and so can Shannon Stewart. That's what makes him a valuable commodity on the trade market in case the Toronto Blue Jays want to get rid of him. Opposite field power to tie this game up with only 1 swing.
There's one of those outfield prospects we were talking about, Reed Johnson, and he runs the hands up the bunt. Takes a pitch inside.
Another look at it, you can see the pitch up and out over the plate for Shannon Stewart.
Shannon Stewart was 0 for his last 13, and Andy Pettitte is a cure-all for Stewart. As we mentioned, 23 now for 51 lifetime against the Yankee left-hander.
Reed Johnson showed that ability to bunt. He will push the ball to the right side. He loves to do that. He'll hit behind the runner, and Carlos Tosca has.
There's a ground ball bobbled by Jeter. He stays with it across the diamond, pulling Giambi off the bag. That'll be an E6.
Well, it always seems like the easiest plays turn out to be the hardest plays. This is a dream ball for Derek Jeter. It did catch him a little bit on the heel of the glove, and by the time you bobble at shortstop, normally you don't have a chance to throw anybody else out.
Toronto's going to turn into be a town that Jeter doesn't like. And it is scored an E6. There's Vernon Wells. There's a strike. What a season for Wells. And we're at the halfway point. 22 homers and 82 runs batted in. A lot of people here in Toronto think that he should have been the all-star center fielder, not Hideki Matsui. The outfield in the American League, Manny Ramirez, Hideki Matsui, and Ichiro Suzuki. Vernon Wells is going, but not as a starter. Swing and a miss.
Well, you showed Vernon Wells' RBIs, but between Wells and Delgado, they have 176 RBIs. It's not even the all-star break between them. That almost equates to 2 RBIs a game. So you talk about some production in the middle of this lineup. They've got it with Wells and Delgado.
And the count 1-2.
I think the way Delgado has been swinging the bat, you almost have to pitch him like Barry Bonds has pitched out in San Francisco. Not let him beat you. Let the guy behind you beat you if anybody's going to beat you.
Well, Wells gets a lot of opportunities to hack because Delgado is behind him, so it's a great spot to be in. Ground ball is short. Let's see if they turn two. There's one. There's two. They turn two on a quick runner. Vernon Wells scored 6-4-3, so the E6 now erased.
Well, you got to give a couple of credits on this play. One to Alfonso Soriano. What a nice move he made at second base. And Jason Giambi at first base with that little bit of a catch and move that foot off the bag. He sold it very well at first. But a nice strong move and a nice pivot by Soriano at second.
Andy Pettitte had only induced 2 double play grounders over his last 11 starts. That was over 47 opportunities, so he gets something that he has not been getting much this year. Here is the aforementioned Delgado having a dream season. It's not even half over. There's a strike. He has 94 runs batted in, which is the 4th most in big league history before the All-Star game. The most ever before the All-Star game, Hank Greenberg. In 1935, he drove in 103. Juan Gonzalez in 98 drove in 101. And Manny Ramirez in 1999 drove in 96. So if Delgado can pick up 3 ribbies this weekend, he moves ahead of Manny Ramirez and comes only the 3rd person to have 100 ribbies at the All-Star break.
Killebrew also had 91 back in 1969.
Can you imagine
did they consider that the dead ball era?
I guess. Can you imagine at the break? I mean, you could stop your season right then and go, okay, I want to raise.
Well, you got to give him a lot of credit too. I mean, he's one of those guys that has the strongest wrist that you'll ever see. I mean, he's a wrist hitter, and he can hit the ball out of the ballpark at any point, whether it be right field, center field, or left field.
And there he wrist one into left field for a base hit. Delgado with a single.
To go along with all the ability that Delgado has, he's a very smart hitter. This is how Andy tried to pitch him with a breaking ball, misses down low. And then that breaking ball again that he fouls. Breaking ball again, so that's 3 in a row. Then he tried to stick the fastball in. You can see that wrist, how quick his wrists are and how strong he is. And fights it off into left field for a base hit.
So Delgado, both of those 2 guys will be in Chicago on Tuesday. Giambi replaces Mike Sweeney of the Royals, who had to be left off the team with a back injury. And the pitch to Tom Wilson is a strike.
And I think Delgado also replaces Barry Bonds in the home run hitting contest, doesn't he?
I believe you're right. Bonds does not want to compete, and he was taking the task for it. He said, hey, Michael Jordan didn't compete in all the slam dunk contests. What do I have to do?
He says, I'm an adult. I can make a decision.
Yes, he can make a decision.
The all-time home run leader, active leader today, and doesn't want to participate in the home run hitting contest.
Giambi anxiously wants to defend his crown from last year, so he's looking forward to it. And that's one of the fun things about the 3-day break. That Monday night has become one of the highlights of the All-Star break, more so than the game. There's a strike and the count 1-2. Wilson's had a good season against the Yankees, 370.
Well, Carlos Tosca's got the best of both worlds with Wilson and Myers.
And now when he lofts into right center field, coming on as Mondesi can't make the play, and then it's over Mondesi's head. Wilson will go for second. The throw is cut off by Soriano, so Wilson gets in as Delgado moves to third. Odd for Mondesi to play the ball that poorly. Remember, he played here in Toronto and is well aware of what that turf can do.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that you really got to be aware of. And thank heavens that Delgado can't run. He's still got that bad knee, but Mondesi got a little bit too close, and you can see just how high it bounces. He did get some leather on it to knock it down, but that allows Wilson to go into second base, and Delgado stops at third. Yeah, Delgado cannot run that well, so anybody that had average speed would have already scored on that play.
Here's Jason Worth, and the pitch is outside. So a big situation for the Blue Jays. They could really tap into Andy Pettitte and take a lead right here. That hasn't been scored yet, but it has to be a single and an E9. But we have not seen an error go up on the board at this point. I don't know how they could have scored that a double. They do score that a double. How's that a double?
Well, I can see why it would be a double because of the artificial turf. You have to take that into consideration. On grass, it's got to be a single and an error. But on artificial surface, you saw how high that ball bounced. So I think the official scorer obviously takes that into consideration.
Well, Tom Wilson will send a thank you note up there. And Posada goes out and talks with Andy Pettitte. So Mondesi was supposed to be benched the whole weekend. Strangely was in the lineup today. And he's in right field and misplayed that looper into right center by Wilson.
Well, right now, no harm done, though, because of the non-speed by Delgado. So if Andy can make a pitch here on Worth, he can get out of it.
The odd part of that play, or one of the odd parts, I felt that if Mondesi threw right to second, they would have had Wilson easily. Instead, he hit the cutoff man, Soriano. The 2-0 is grounded to short, so no harm, no foul across the diamond, and that will do it. So that play meant absolutely nothing. 1 run, 3 hits, 1 error, and 2 men left. And the 1 run on this swing by Shannon Stewart, pitch up and away. He takes it the other way. Home run number 7 for him. We played 1-1.
Now's your chance to win 4 free Yankee tickets. Just log on to nypost.com before 11 p.m. Answer the secret question from today's New York Post, and you could win. For your next chance to win, pick up the New York Post next Friday and watch the game on CBS 2.
The New York Yankees, the world's most successful sports franchise, are celebrating their historic 100th anniversary in 2003. It's a long-time Yankee tradition. On Thursday, July 17th, Cap Night, the first 25,000 fans in attendance will receive a Yankees cap from Verizon. Come out to Yankee Stadium and join in the celebration of 100 years of greatness. Tonight on The Late Show, Dave's got Pirates of the Caribbean star Johnny Depp, plus music from B.B. King. Tonight, right after CBS 2 News at 11. Well, both pitchers wiggled out of trouble in the first inning. They gave up 1 run, and that's where we stand right now as we head to the second. Yankees won, Blue Jays won, and Raul Mondesi is going to lead off against John Wasdin. Wasdin threw 29 pitches in the first inning. And the Yankees look up the board right now, and Detroit is trailing Boston 4-0 as they go to the bottom of the second inning at Comerica Park. And the pitch to Mondesi is low and away. Mondesi is 2 for his last 29 and 7 for his last 59. And he's 1 for his last 27 against right-handed pitching. There's a strike.
Wasdin with a little high in the strike zone in the first inning. Could have been that since he hasn't been in the major leagues for such a long time, he could have been overthrowing a little bit, had a little bit more of adrenaline flowing through his body. We'll see how and if he can settle down here in the second.
Line drive to left center field, a base hit for Raul Mondesi. Vernon Wells cuts it off, fires it into Woodward, a leadoff single for Mondesi. Mondesi was upset when Joe Torre benched him before yesterday's game and said that he was going to bench him all weekend. And Mondesi said, "I'm not a complainer, but the only way to hit is to get up and get at bats."
Well, you just mentioned his numbers. That was one of the reasons that Joe is setting Mondesi down. One good thing that Joe can do today is that he has an option. You know, there for a while he really didn't have an option if the guy was going through a terrible slump, just to give him a couple of days off to get his head, his bat back together again.
Enrique Wilson drag bunt past Wasdin, fielded by Hudson, flips to first, not in time. Great bunt on artificial turf by Enrique Wilson. Yankees have runners on first and second and nobody out.
Well, the artificial surface absolutely helps on this one here. You can see how high it is. Wasdin couldn't get over there. Once it got past Wasdin, almost a sure thing that Enrique Wilson was going to come up with a bunt base hit. Now, the one thing that this does is that if it doesn't work as a hit, then at least you move the runner down into scoring position with 1 out. But the best of both worlds, 2 men on, nobody out.
So Wasdin's in trouble again. And here is Soriano. Soriano flied to right. That was in the first inning. He'd like to do that again at least, and that would move Mondesi over to third. Instead, he grounds it to third, past the diving Hinske and down the left field line. Mondesi scores. The ball is bobbled out left field by Reed Wilson. Enrique Wilson goes to third, Soriano to second, an RBI double, and the Yankees lead 2-1.
I thought Hinske should have had this ball. I think he got fooled a little bit. I think he thought that Soriano hit a little bit harder than what it was. He made a nice diving stop there, or tried, but it was the artificial surface. You saw that hop right there as it hops over his glove. It took a bigger hop than what he thought. And Johnson kicks it around a little bit down in the left field corner.
So they score that a double and an RBI. And the Yankees have runners on second and third. Nobody out, so they could actually score those 2 runs with 2 outs. Here's Jeter. They play the infield back. They'll give up the run at third. And Wasdin tries to go inside with the fastball, 1-0.
Some of the reports that I had read on Wasdin as he was pitching in Japan was that he had established a lot more confidence in his repertoire, including his fastball, his curveball, his slider, his split fingered, his changeup. That before he went over, he didn't have the confidence in all the pitches that he needed to throw in order to be successful on the major league level.
He was a teammate of Hideki Matsui's last year with the Yomiuri Giants.
And actually, the Yankees drafted him, and he did not sign back in the 90s.
Inside, 2-1. It does show you, Bobby, when you see a guy struggle like this and then you see his numbers in AAA, what a huge jump it is. It's not just one level. It seems like so much more. You see the Wasdin bio, drafted by Oakland in '93, first-round pick, 25th pick in the first round. Made his debut in '95 for Oakland and acquired by the Blue Jays in a trade with the Pirates.
In fact, in 1993, Gil Patterson, who's the pitching coach here with the Blue Jays on the major league level, he was his pitching coach in the minor leagues in Oakland. Gil Patterson there on the right side.
Former Yankee farmhand. The entire Blue Jay coaching staff has a decided Yankee flavor to it. 2-2, right back up the middle, another base hit for Jeter. Wilson scores. Here comes Soriano. He'll score. It's a 2-run single for Derek Jeter, and the Yankees lead 4-1.
He hung a breaking ball to Jeter his first time up. He got a base hit. This was a two-seamer that he tried to run in on the hands. And Jeter just knocks it back up the middle for a 2-run single. So he's tried the breaking ball and he's tried the running fastball, and both of them haven't worked on Jeter yet.
Jeter is really, really hot of late. 2 for 2 tonight. 8 for his last 11 and 15 for his last 22.
You see Gil Patterson, the pitching coach, out to talk to Wasdin, and he had a smile on his face. And you know, I just got to believe that the Blue Jays they're searching for anything and everything that they can get their hands on to try to keep them in this American League race, and it's got to be an arm of some sort. So Wasdin gets a chance, and right now he's not looking that sharp.
And I'll have to face Jason Giambi. Wasdin has not pitched in the major league since October of 2001, and he hasn't started since September of 2000. Bobby said this earlier, the 8th pitcher used by the Blue Jays in a start this year. Jays have the shift on for Giambi, and there's the strike. Giambi popped to second, really shallow right field. That was in the first. Yankees lead 4-1. We're in the top of the second. First game of a 3-game set north of the border. 1-1.
Well, the Blue Jays, you know, they have called up 3 pitchers. There's Kirshner now beginning to warm up, the lefty. Along with Wasdin coming up from Syracuse, he also called up Dan Reichert and Corey Thurman.
Well, they realize that the pitching is their problem. They can hit with anybody, but if they can't keep the other team off the board, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. And when you're building a team, that's the hardest part to build. They have the one ace. They have Roy Halladay. Kelvin Escobar's done a good job, but after that, driven out to deep left center field. Giving chase is Vernon Wells. He's on the run. He's looking up. It's off the top of the wall. Jeter reading the ball beautifully. Round third. He's coming home, and he will score. An RBI double for Jason Giambi. And the Yankees lead 5-1.
Giambi, like Delgado, that was a breaking ball, low and away, has power to all fields. And this just up above, almost went out of here in left center field. Nice carom play by Wells in center field, but as you mentioned, Jeter read that extremely well. That's one of the great things that Derek Jeter can do. I mean, he has great sense of where that ball is at all times on the baseball field. So he picks up another RBI for Jason Giambi, another run for the Yankees.
And that'll do it for John Wasdin. Carlos Tosca comes to the mound, and he calls on the young left-hander Jason Kirshner. So Kirshner will face Bernie Williams with a runner on second base and nobody out. We'll step aside for just a moment. You come back here on CBS 2. Yankees lead 5-1. Quick night for John Wasdin. Big difference between AAA and the big leagues. 1 inning, 8 hits, 5 runs, a walk, 1 strikeout, and Jason Giambi at second is his responsibility. So they bring in Jason Kirshner, a young left-hander. You see his numbers. This is his 12th game. He's 0-1, 5.59. Has not seen that much action. And the pitch to Bernie Williams, right back to Kirshner. He almost had Giambi hung up, but he'll fire to first to get Williams for the first out of the inning.
Well, the reason he didn't fire back to second base is because the shortstop, the second baseman, wasn't there in time. And he did the right thing. You can see right there, there's nobody home, so he's got to wait for somebody to get there. And by that time, Jason's already back to second, so he gets the out at first. You like that because the young rookie left-hander, he knew exactly what to do once the ball was bounced back to him.
Pitch to Matsui is driven the other way. Foul. So Yankees give Andy Pettitte a 5-1 lead. It's only the second inning. Pettitte has won his last 5 starts. And the 0-1. Shallow center field, backing up Hudson. Coming on is Vernon Wells, 2 away.
Those pitchers, they'll take as many runs as you want to give them.
And they don't mind getting stiff on the bench for 30 minutes.
They'll never give you the stop sign on runs.
Here's Posada. He walked his first time up in the first inning. 2 outs here in the top of the second. 4 runs already in. Giambi, who just picked up his 66 ribby, he's at second, and they will intentionally walk Jorge Posada in order to pitch to the slumping Robin Ventura. As Bobby said, they all read the scouting reports, and the Blue Jays know that Ventura is in a horrendous slump, so they'll take the chances with him, a left-hander against the lefty, rather than go up against Posada, and it's still quite early in order for Joe Torre to pinch hit.
Yeah, and one of the reasons that Tosca has Kirshner down in the bullpen is to take care of specific left-handers. I mean, that's been his role. In fact, he has thrown 4 2/3 scoreless innings before coming in tonight's game. So you'll take your chances with a guy that's slumping on the left side.
Ventura struck out with the bases loaded in the first inning. 0 for his last 18. Thing with Robin, walking the clubhouse before the game, seeing the hotel lobby, you cannot tell whether he's 20 for his last 20 or 0 for his last 21. He just lives life that way with a quiet dignity and equanimity. He doesn't betray what he's feeling. But those that are watching the games know how much he's struggling. See what he's done in July and what he hasn't done in July, and it's probably eating him up inside.
Yeah, you know, if the reporters were asking Joe Torrio, say, well, did Robin Ventura come over and tell you that his knee was hurting? He said, no, he would never tell me. He said, if I asked him how he felt, he said, I feel pretty good, Skipper. He said, how about you want to take a night off today? Well, it's up to you. If that's what you want me to do, that'll be fine. Whatever you think is good for the ball club.
And that's what he's about. He's that type. You want to platoon him with zeal, whatever you want.
Be fine with me.
He's very secure in his own skin. I guess that's the best way to put it. Doesn't have a massive ego. Every ball player has somewhat of an ego, but not going to complain about things. Realizes where he stands on this team, what he means to the team, and doesn't need to crow about it. Doesn't need to be put on a pedestal by anybody. Doesn't expect it. The 2-2, foul back.
And you can see, by the way, Robin is taking the swings that he is. He's almost 3/4 lost at home plate. He's just feeling for the ball and hoping that he can make contact and put it in play. Somewhat of an aggressive swing here. But of course, with 2 strikes on you got to try to protect the strike zone. But it's not the Robin that we saw earlier in the year where he really had those aggressive swings and was driving the ball.
Popped him up. First base side behind the plate. Tom Wilson's there, and he'll put it away for the final out of the inning. So Ventura continues to struggle. But the Yankees get 4 runs on 5 hits. They leave 2. We go to the bottom of the second. 5-1 Yanks. Well, Yankee fans, visit Yankees.com for all the latest news, ticket information, audio and video of your favorite team exclusively at Yankees.com, the official site of the New York Yankees. So Gil Patterson talking it over with John Wasdin, what he felt he did wrong, and that's a good sign for Wasdin. They're certainly not going to send him down, and he'll probably get another start. The Blue Jays can't be picky right now. It's not as if they have a greater option than John Wasdin, and maybe Wasdin will do better against another team other than the Yankees. Pitch to Eric Hinsky is a little bit low. Outside, 3-0. A lengthy top of the inning for Pettitte, and although he likes the runs, maybe he fell out of sync sitting on the bench. There's a strike.
And he didn't walk a batter in his last outing against the Red Sox, and he struck out 10. I mean, I've never seen a pitcher locked in like Pettitte was against the Red Sox. He had all the pitches working.
That looked like ball 4, but the home plate umpire, Gary Darling, said strike 2. Walked him anyway. So as Bobby said, he did not walk a batter in his brilliant start against the Red Sox, and here he walks one in the second.
One of the things that you mentioned that what was it, 73 innings where he hadn't imposed a ground ball. He's not getting
double plays. I think.
Yeah, he hasn't given up that many double plays. But normally, Andy, when he would walk a guy or a guy would get on, he would throw that cutter down and in. They'd knock it on the ground left side, double play, and 2 outs.
You know what the difference this year might be, Bobby? He strikes out too many people. I know that sounds strange, but he has 7.9 strikeouts per 9 innings. And because he's bigger and he's worked out with Clemens, he actually throws harder. And I think sometimes he falls into a strikeout mode.
But I think the cutter and the slider has just been a little bit too inconsistent for him, especially early in the year. It's a lot sharper now. And that's where he used to get all of those ground balls, was that cutter to the right-hander. The right-hander would swing on top of that cutter, which was coming down and in. He'd get that ground ball.
Andy is number 5 with strikeouts per 9 innings. His teammates Clemens and Messina are second and third, with Pedro with 9.75 per 9 innings, leading the American League.
Now, I don't think you can have too many strikeouts.
It does change the way he pitches, though. He never used to be a strikeout pitcher per se.
Well, you know, one of the things that I think Pettitte is he's a little bit more stronger later on in the game because of his workout routine with Clemens. His endurance level is much higher, so he's stronger for more innings that he pitches.
The 1-2 missed. The interesting thing, and it's right there for everybody to see if you read the radar gun readings, which you see right here, is that before he started working out with Roger Clemens, he threw 88, 89 miles an hour on the fastball. Now he can get it to 92, 93, and that's because he is stronger, lifting weights, just a stronger guy. Swing and a miss, and Hudson down on strikes.
Just about everybody in baseball is stronger today because of the weights and the strengthening programs that every club and every player has. Hudson's not much of a hitter, even though he's a switch hitter. Not much of a hitter from the right side, batting only 191.
Along with Bobby Murcer, I'm Michael Kay. You're watching Yankees baseball on this Friday evening on CBS 2. We thank you for joining us. The first game of this 3-game set. Yankees lead 5-1. They've already knocked out Blue Jays starter John Wasdin with a 4-run second inning. Andy Pettitte, the recipient of all those runs. Derek Jeter is 2 for 2, and it's only the second inning. Matsui with an RBI. Jeter with 2, Soriano with 1, and Giambi with 1. Pitch is high. And the 1-1. Driven out to deep left field, going back Matsui, still back, and that is over his head and up against the wall. Hinsky rumbles around third. They'll send him. He'll score. The throw is cut off by Jeter. It's an RBI double by Chris Woodward, and the Yankee lead is now 5-2.
Well, Woodward found the pitch that he liked. You can see Posada had moved inside, and that ball was out over the middle. So Woodward picks up his 33rd RBI. Sometimes you can get caught a little bit too close to the wall, and Matsui with that carom got past him because he was just a little bit too close. So by the time he runs it down, that allows that run to score.
Pitch to Shannon Stewart is way outside. Stewart, an opposite field solo home run leading off the first inning against Pettitte. His 7th home run of the year, breaking an 0 for 13 slide.
You know, from an outfielder standpoint, when you play on this this artificial surface, I mean, you just got to play so much more safe out there than you would on the natural grass. If the ball does get by you, it will run forever and roll forever. So you just got to really be safe on the balls that's hit in between you, whether you think you can catch it on shoestring or whether you should back up and catch it on the high hop. Those are the split-second decisions that you have to make as an outfielder on an artificial surface.
Soft ground ball to short. Jeter takes the out at first. Moving to third is Woodward. Tonight, after the game, the Big Brother house guests are competing for $500,000. But this time, their exes have moved in on their game. Brace yourself for the X Factor and one explosive summer of television. Don't miss an all-new Big Brother right after tonight's game. Runner on third base, 2 outs. And here is Reed Johnson. He reached on a Derek Jeter error in the first inning.
You got to watch him. He will bunt, as we mentioned.
There's a strike, and Wilson's playing very deep at third.
Well, a couple of men out. The man on at third base. They're trying to scratch for runs. And Johnson has that great ability. That's one of the things that he can do, and he can do it well.
Swing and a miss, and the count 0-2. Hit sharply to third, fielded there by Enrique Wilson across the diamond. They get Reed Johnson for the final out of the inning. But Andy Pettitte gives up a run on one hit. No errors and one man left. We've played 2. Yankees 5, the Blue Jays CBS 2. Come out to Yankee Stadium on Friday night, July 18th, as the first 18,000 fans in attendance will receive a Bernie Williams CD with selections from his new album, The Journey Within. This is courtesy of Kraft and Nabisco. For tickets, visit the stadium ticket window, Yankees clubhouse shops. Call Ticketmaster at 212-307-1212 or log on to Yankees.com. We go to the third inning, and Raul Mondesi leads off. And there's a strike from Jason Kirshner. On in relief of John Wasdin. Wasdin lasted just an inning plus. Strike 2. Mondesi, after being told by Joe Torre that he wasn't playing last night and that he wouldn't play this weekend, said that he was going to think about asking for a trade, and said now he will not re-sign with the Yankees at the end of the year. Somewhat presumptuous of Mondesi, as if it was a sure thing that they would want him back, but you know, that always existed. But Mondesi says, I'm an everyday player. That's what I want to be. I don't want to be part of a platoon. I just think he got his nose out of joint.
Well, I think there are a lot of players who have been everyday players in their career, and all of a sudden it comes to time, and I even went through this myself, when you fight it so much. And I don't think that I think Joe Torre would expect Mondesi to be mad not to be in the lineup. I mean, you would want your player to want to play every day, and that's what Mondesi wants to do. But to be able to air it out in the papers, I think that's wrong. I don't think he should do that and start talking about trades and not signing with an organization. I mean, the main thing for a organization and for a player is the player is playing to help this team win and win a world championship. It has nothing to do with what your career is going to be when this season's over with. So I think a lot of that may have been said out of a moment of just being terribly mad, not thinking about what you were saying.
Fly ball to Worth, one away.
Joe's going to do whatever he wants to do in the first place, because his main objective is to win and win the world championship with this club. And Joe has a lot more moves that he can make today than he did when this season started. So I mean, he's got some left-handed bats and he's got some left-handed power on that bench that he could use. And if he feels that he needs to use it to win a ball game, I think he'll do that. In fact, I know he will.
Here's Enrique Wilson, a drag bunt single in the second inning, came around to score later on. Pitch is low. The problem that the Yankees are going to have over the next couple of weeks, and this is even before Nick Johnson gets back, is that the Yankee bench has very talented players on it. But except for the man up at the plate right now, the guys that are their bench expect to play all the time, and that's what they've done their whole career. Ruben Sierra is one of them. Mondesi's another. The man over there on the left, Kareem Garcia, also wants to play every day. You've got to have guys on your bench that accept that role of being on the bench, and if they don't accept it and they consider themselves everyday player, it becomes a headache for the manager. There's a pop-up to left field. Reed Johnson puts it away for the second out of the inning.
Well, it certainly can be a problem for the manager, and it certainly can be a problem in the clubhouse too, because you always got guys that are moaning and it seems like a lot of times that they are not pulling for the team. They're only thinking about themselves. But on the other hand, if you could reverse that, just think what the Yankees can do because of all the options that Joe Torre has. I mean, right now, Joe can make a lot of moves and never be on the short side of the moves because of the pitching changes and the guys that he has on the bench.
Somehow he has to keep them ready and happy so that the moves that he can make, as Bobby is saying, are successful moves. Because if you've got guys griping and moaning on the bench, then they might not be ready when they're called on. Actually, John Flaherty is another guy who accepts his role. Enrique Wilson accepts his role. And I think that Todd Zeile is kind of in the middle. He accepts it. He's played more in his career, and he knows when he signed with the Yankees what he exactly was going to be, but I don't think he's flourished under that role.
Well, he may not totally be 100% satisfied with what that role is, but he knew when he signed over here what his role was going to be, as you mentioned, because that was discussed between Todd Zeile and the New York Yankees and how he was going to fit in. Well, the one thing that you cannot do as a manager is let it simmer and let it fester and let it get out of hand where it can affect your ball club mentally, you know, and affect the ball club as a chemistry.
Soriano is 1 for 2 RBI double last time, up right down the third baseline. Kirshner sets and the 0-2. Low 1 and 2. It's a problem I'm sure a lot of teams would like to have, having that much talent on the bench. But just in wrapping this up, there's bench talent, and then there's talent that thinks it should play every day, and sometimes the twain doesn't meet. And that's something, again, that Joe Torre has to deal with. Brian Cashman gets in the talent. Joe Torre has to juggle it. The 1-2. Line drive caught by a diving Hinske for the final out of the inning, taking an extra base hit away from Alfonso Soriano. Nice play by Eric Hinske. Put a star in your book next to this one. Full body dive, backhanded. We go to the bottom of the third, 5-2 Yanks. Full city this is, huh?
That's
what
a
great
postcard.
shot. CN Tower right there. Skyline right there. And there's
Michael
the dome.
K right there.
And Vernon Wells takes a pitch. Outside 1-0. The dome's closed tonight because it's been lousy weather here in Toronto. It rained today, overcast. So they've been playing a couple of these last couple of games with the dome closed. You never can get a straight answer out of anybody, Bobby, when you ask here, does it travel better with the dome closed? Does it travel better open? They say it travels better in the heat. Well, I'll tell you, it's pretty hot in this ballpark right now. Vernon Wells hits the ball down the right field line. That's a base hit. Raul Mondesi fields. Tiano would do it. I don't think he wants any part of that.
He'll want me to crowd the plate. I don't want to get hit.
You know, Jim Cotta is playing in his first Old Timers Day.
When?
Well, that's Saturday. He might go up against.
Oh, no.
You don't need that.
No, I don't. Oh, no. I'm going to have to think about that a whole week.
And he's going to quick pitch you, too.
Oh, that just tears me up.
Maybe he'll be on your team.
I sure hope so. Talk to Stick.
There's Vernon Wells. Reed Johnson leads off first. Yankees lead 5-4, bottom of the 5th. Swing and a miss. You can see Andy Pettitte is not quite razor sharp tonight, and if he's going to win this game, he is going to have to battle through it, or as his buddy Roger Clemens likes to say, he's going to have to grind, because the stuff is not there today. The command's not there.
It's not there, and we talked about before today's ball game, he hadn't walked any of the last 74 batters leading off an inning, and he's walked 2 tonight. And the first one that he walked came around to score, and this is the second one.
And this is the second one before Vernon Wells and Delgado.
He's right in front of the meat of this heart of this lineup.
Fouled off. Five, 8-1 for the Yankees, 4-7-0 for the Blue Jays. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning here at Skydome, the first of 3 here north of the border. Vernon Wells is 1 for 2, double play and a double to right. The scouting report on Wells: he is a run producer. He's not a future All-Star. He's an All-Star this year, and he is indeed a franchise player.
He was only 23 years old last year. He knocked in 100 runs for Toronto. He's certainly going to knock in 100 this year and many, many more after that. But batting in front of Delgado, if those two guys get on front of Vernon Wells a lot, the protection that he has and the hitter that he is, no telling how many runs he could knock in.
Ground it right back to Pettitte. Let's see if they get two. There's one. Not in time. Not a great throw by Pettitte. He led Soriano a bit too much, taking Soriano away from the throw, almost away from the bag.
Well, I'm not so sure that was Pettitte's fault because Soriano was late getting to the bag. You see Soriano now, his movement, well, that ball did tail away from him, and Soriano had the momentum took him on towards the shortstop side, so he had to throw across his body, couldn't get enough on it to throw out Vernon Wells, who runs pretty good. That is a predetermined play. I mean, they already know, they have talked it over on if the ball is hit back to Pettitte, who's going to cover second base.
Wonder why Mel's coming out right now. I mean, all we could do is guess. I guess how to deal with Delgado.
I think he's certainly talking about Delgado, and Delgado is 2 for 2. He's got 5 home runs off of him, and he is the guy that you do not want to let beat you. And even though there's a runner on at first base, we'll take a look back. That's one of the 5 home runs that Delgado lashed off of Andy Pettitte. That was at Yankee Stadium. This also at Yankee Stadium. Came into the game batting .353 against Pettitte in his career, and he's 2 for 2. So that's going to go up.
He's 4 for his last 4 at bats against Pettitte, and he's the only left-handed batter to ever hit 2 home runs in a game off Andy Pettitte. And that was back on May 22nd. But as Bobby said earlier, doesn't matter what arm the guy on the mound throws with. It doesn't affect Delgado at all. He hits lefties as well as righties.
But also think about this too. If Pettitte was going to get Delgado out, it would probably have to be the slider going down and away. The 2 hits that he's gotten tonight have all been fastballs, and they've been inside, and he's been able to fight them off the opposite way for base hits. That looked like a breaking ball there. So you want to try to get Delgado out in front and maybe try to hook the ball as the ball is going away from you. So if the ball is spinning away from Delgado's bat as he's trying to cover the plate, then as the ball continues to move away, it moves away from the fat part of Delgado's bat. You certainly don't want to hang it, though.
The 0-1. Right there, keeping it away from him, 0-2, but the danger is leaving it over the plate.
Yeah,
you've got to make perfect pitches.
Well, you just got to believe that you're not going to do that, that you're going to make a good, solid breaking ball that goes away from the power of Delgado. And even if he does get the wood on it, Michael, if the ball has got the right and proper movement, it moves away from the fat part of the bat so he can't drive it.
And the 0-2. High fly ball to center field. So he finally retires Delgado. 2 away, and Wells heads back to first. Delgado angry with himself.
Well, the way he hits Pettitte, he doesn't think he ever should make an out. But he's a guy that studies hitting all the time. He will go back and put that at bat in a book. He keeps a book on every pitcher. He'll write it down. He'll have a chance to review it next time that he faces Pettitte and what he did against him in this particular circumstance.
Here's Tom Wilson. Pettitte almost got him. Wells was leaning. Crowd doesn't like it, so at least Pettitte making the throws to first elicits some response from this crowd.
Finally, they put their cheese down.
And they're starting to whine.
Oh, my, oh, my.
Foul tip, 0-1. I'll tell you what, the production they've gotten out of Tom Wilson and Greg Myers is just amazing. They have really done a lot offensively behind the plate. Neither one of them are great defensive catchers, but they've gotten way more than they ever could have hoped for. And that gives them protection behind Delgado. Here's Tom Wilson, a guy they pick up off the scrap heap pretty much, and he's batting behind Delgado and providing protection for a guy with 95 ribbies in the first half. Greg Myers, the lefty part of that platoon. Ground ball is short. Jeter's there. He flips to Soriano, and that will do it. And Andy Pettitte keeps the Blue Jays off the board. No runs, no hits, no errors, and one man left. Guess what? There's now a knothole in the picket fence. Eric Montross? Crowd here at Skydome as we head to the 6th inning. I don't know why they're walking the walkways. There's a game going on. Yankees lead the Blue Jays 5-4. And fans, it's a long-time Yankee tradition on Thursday, July 17th, cap night. The first 25,000 fans in attendance will receive a Yankees cap courtesy of Verizon. For tickets, visit the stadium ticket window. Yankees clubhouse shops, call Ticketmaster at 212-307-1212 or log on to Yankees.com. A lot of Yankee fans here. Open up a Tootsie Roll. Oh, yeah, that's living. And Kirshner still out there, throws a ball past Mondesi. Kirshner threw only 7 pitches last inning.
Kirshner actually signed with the Philadelphia Phillies back in 1995, and he has spent most of his years in the minor leagues until last year when he got to pitch for Toronto a little bit. But the way he is pitching tonight and the way he has pitched since he has been recalled from Syracuse, and as much pitching help as they need, he may be starting before it's over with.
Popped up shallow center field, coming on well, still coming. He makes the play. One away. You could say that in partially facetious way, Bobby, but if they stretch him out and he's effective, they'll try him. They really need help.
You know, that's nothing facetious about it. I'm serious, because they're looking for somebody to step up. There is room on this staff for somebody to make a statement, and Kirshner tonight is certainly making that statement.
And they have the type of offense that they can compete in any division. They'll score runs with anybody against any type of pitcher. Ground ball is short. Woodward is there, and Wilson's gone.
Kirshner is throwing strikes. He's staying ahead of the hitters. He's changing speeds. He keeps the ball low in the strike zone. I'm impressed.
The only base runner against him was an intentional walk. He has retired 12 in a row.
What he has done is kept the Blue Jays in this game. That's the most important thing.
Soriano taking his time because he realized the first 2 guys made out so quickly. Swing and a miss. Like a change.
That was a changeup, and you could tell by the way that Soriano swung the bat. He thought when Kirshner, it left his hand, the ball, that it looked like a fastball, and it went down and away.
Way outside.
I'm sure Joe and Posada are talking over the fact of what Andy Pettitte still has left, what he had that last inning.
Strike inside corner. Good pitch to Soriano. 1-2. Line drive down the right field line. Great piece of hitting by Soriano. That's a base hit. It goes into the corner up against the wall. Worth Fields gets the ball in, and Soriano with a 2-out double. That's his second base hit of the night, his second double of the night.
Well, actually, you can see that Wilson was sent up inside. You saw where the ball was. His glove started out way inside, and that's where he wanted the fastball to try to crowd Soriano. And he got it up over the plate. Soriano made him pay for it.
Well, Carlos Tosca on his way out to the mound, he might have pushed the envelope as far as he could push it, and he is going to take the ball from Kirshner. And you know that Kirshner has done about as good a job as he could possibly do. So they call on Dan Reichert, a tall, thin right-hander, to take over for Kirshner, and Kirshner gets a nice hand from the crowd here at Skydome. So when we get back, Yankees lead 5-4. Soriano's at second, 2 out. It'll be Reichert against Jeter on CBS 2.
On DVD and video,
I think you're so cool with your karate.
one's got the moves. One's got the mouth.
This country blows.
Now they're in a whole new world of trouble.
You got any ideas? We jump. You mean fall?
Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson are hysterical.
I call that one my Kung Pao chicken.
Shanghai Nights. Own it this Tuesday on DVD and video.
Third pitcher used by Carlos Tosca, and Dan Reichert is going to be hard-pressed to be better than Jason Kirshner. Dan Reichert in 35 games with Syracuse, 3-2, with a 3.71 ERA.
He actually released this spring by the Tampa Bay Devil Rays and then signed to a minor league contract by Toronto.
And the pitch to Jeter is high.
Supposedly, Reichert has a pretty good slider, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's not what he features against Derek Jeter.
Reichert, one of many high draft picks from Kansas City that never made it. They just could not tap into his talent last year with the Royals. 3-5, 5.32, 24 relief appearances and 6 starts.
Well, he's still only 26 years old, so I mean there's still time. And like excuse me, Michael, like they say over here in Toronto, they're trying to catch some lightning in a bottle, and maybe, you know, Reichert is matured enough now that he knows what he wants to do. Maybe he has a different feel on the baseball. And Carlos Tosca, though, couldn't stand him walking too many people.
Well, there's a lefty ready in the bullpen. He might go to him if he loses Jeter, because Giambi's up next.
Corey Thurman, we'll take another look at Miller in the bullpen. Corey Thurman also, who was called up with Wasdin, and Reichert pitched 3 scoreless innings against the Boston Red Sox in the last game that they played here at Toronto.
And that was a game where Corey Lytle got lit up, and he has really fallen on hard times. He was a guy who got off to a great start for the Blue Jays, and he has been hit hard every time out. Yesterday against the Red Sox, one more time. Reichert in the big leagues, 21-25, 2 saves, 5.53 ERA. Looks like he's stirring iced tea when he gets the sign. And the 3-2. Way inside, he loses Jeter. So a walk of Derek Jeter, and Tosca's seen enough. He brings Reichert in to get the right-hander, doesn't do the job, so he's got 8 pitchers in the bullpen. He is going to mix and match because he wants to keep this game at 5-3 and give his offense a chance to 5-4, should I say, and give his offense a chance to go up against the Yankee bullpen. So Trever Miller is going to take the jog in from left field. Tosca takes the ball from Reichert. It'll be the lefty Miller against the left-handed hitting Giambi right here on CBS 2. Stay around. Mel Stoudemire continuing to talk with Andy Pettitte. Right now he's just chewing sunflower seeds. I think pumpkin seeds. But he is class has been in session as they will watch Trever Miller go up against Jason Giambi.
Now, how do you know it's pumpkin?
I thought it was white.
Trever Miller making his 49th appearance. He came in tonight's game tied for first with most appearances in the American League with 48. So Carlos Tosca doing everything he can to try to keep this game as close as possible after the Jays have fought back to a one-run deficit.
Giambi, the RBI double in the second inning. Popped to second and struck out his other times up. First and second, 2 outs. Top of the 6th, and there's a strike.
This is Tosca's last left-hander in the bullpen. Kirshner and Miller are the only 2 that he has.
Giambi with 23 homers, only 6 of them at Yankee Stadium, so he does damage on the road. The 0-1. Foul back. Scott Service, the right-hander, is warming for the Blue Jays in their bullpen as Tosca is willing to mix and match throughout the end of the game. The 0-2. He struck him out. Trever Miller came on and did just what he had to do. He retired the lefty Jason Giambi. For the Yankees in the first, or in the 6th, no runs, a hit, no errors, and 2 men left. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. It's 5-4 Yankees.
Derek, you're our starting shortstop. How can you possibly afford to spend 2 nights dancing, 2 nights eating out, and 3 nights just carousing with your friends? Oh.
If you want to enjoy the New York nightlife, bring your Fleet Visa card, because Orso, Cheetah, and the Broom Street Bar don't take American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. Apply today for a Fleet credit or total access check card. Call 1-800-CALL-FLEET.
We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Yankees 5 and the Blue Jays 4. Andy Pettitte ready to deal to Jason Worth. It'll be Worth, Hinsky, and Hudson here in the 6th. And the pitch is low. Sometimes if you hang in there enough, you do find your groove. You find your arm slot. You start to pitch better. Maybe with Pettitte putting up his first 0 in the 5th, he'll fall into a better rhythm. There's a strike.
Well, he's still got the velocity on the fastball. Where Andy has been hurt tonight has been location.
There's a strike.
Worth can play all the outfield positions, and when the season started this year, he was on the disabled list. They were counting on him to start the year, but
strikes out against Pettitte, 1 away.
Well, that's a nasty cutter or slider. I couldn't tell exactly what that was, but you saw how it went down and in on the right-hander. They just swing right over the top of it. That's the cutter. Watch him swing right over the top of it. I mean, the bottom just falls out of it, and it looks like a fastball.
Here's Eric Hinsky, 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. There's a strike. Pettitte's working quicker now and also hitting corners.
For 6 weeks, Eric Hinsky had a broken hamate bone in his right hand. Didn't know it, knew it was sore.
That one's hit deep to right center field, giving chase. Bernie Williams on the run, looking up. It's off the wall. Mondesi plays the carom, gets it in. It's a double for Eric Hinsky, who missed the game-tying home run by a couple of feet.
Hinsky, who we talked about being the American League Rookie of the Year, had a broken right hand and played with it for a long time, and everybody was saying, well, what was wrong with Hinsky? He doesn't look like, maybe they've made the adjustment to him. He's not driving the ball, but his hand was broken. And finally they found that hairline fracture, and he's just now trying to get back into the groove again.
Here's Orlando Hudson, tying runs at second, and there is a strike. Good cutter by Pettitte, and the count 0-1. Ground ball at third. Wilson fields, checks the runner back across the diamond, pulling Giambi off the bag, but he makes a tag on the swipe. 2 away. Andy's thrown 99 pitches, 65 strikes, 34 balls. And now he'll face Chris Woodward, and he has not had much success against Woodward tonight. Woodward with an RBI double to left and then a home run to left in the 4th. Woodward has become the personal project of Blue Jay third base coach Brian Butterfield, who is also their infield coach. Woodward, a 50th round draft pick, and has worked 54th to be exact, and has worked his way up through the system. And he looks at Butterfield now and he calls Butterfield a father figure. Woodward lost his dad at the age of 21, and Butterfield just raves about Chris Woodward.
Well, Woodward has an exceptional arm at shortstop. He may not have the range that you would like for a shortstop to have. A lot of times he is diving for balls that normally you wouldn't have to if you had that kind of range, but he's got an exceptional arm, and he's shown tonight that he also can drive the ball.
If you get to Skydome early ever, you will see Butterfield hitting Woodward hundreds of ground balls at short, and they work on the positioning and the footwork and everything around the bag.
You know, still another work in progress with Hudson and Woodward, you know, working on the double play combination. They haven't worked that long with each other. Can you imagine Lou Whitaker, Alan Trammell? They must have known every little move, every little thing that each and every one of them did. Nothing surprised them, no matter what happened.
20 years, the keystone combination of the Detroit Tigers. 20 years together. The 2-2. Missed outside, 3-2. Andy's now over 100 pitches, and you look out in the Yankee bullpen in right field, and it's very quiet out there. Nobody is warming up. And the 3-2 to Woodward. In the dirt, blocked by Posada. Another walk issued by Andy Pettitte. That's his 3rd of the night. Every inning has been a struggle for Pettitte. And it started when Shannon Stewart let out the first inning with this. And right away you could see this was not going to be the same way as it was last Sunday against the Red Sox, when Pettitte was so dominant and beat the Red Sox 7-1. There's a ground ball through the left side for a base hit. Eric Hinske rounds third. The ball is bobbled by Matsui. Hinske scores. Woodward moves to third. Moving into second, Shannon Stewart. And the Blue Jays have come all the way back. It's a 5-5 game.
Well, I think Matsui thought he had a chance to throw the runner out at home. That ball gets on you in a hurry with this artificial surface, and he just overran it and couldn't pick it up. You can see the ball as it caroms off his glove, so that's going to be a hit and an error on Matsui for allowing that runner to go into second base.
Now Mel Stottlemyre will go out to the mound, and as he goes to the mound, the Yankee bullpen will get busy. Looks like Al Reyes beginning to warm out there. So Pettitte led 5-1 after an inning and a half, and the Blue Jays have chipped away, and it's a 5-5 game, and a lot of the credit has to go to young Jason Kirshner, the Blue Jays left-handed reliever who held the Yankees right there and allowed the team to get back into it.
The walk to the 9th place hitter after he had a chance to put him away brought up one of the hot hitters in this lineup in Shannon Stewart. third now batting over 300 for the year.
Reyes is joined by Danny Maselli. So double-barreled right-handed action in the Yankee bullpen. This is a very big at bat. Reed Johnson gets a single with Stuart Speed at second. It's a 7-5 Blue Jay lead. Right now it's 5-5 with 2 outs. Reed Johnson is 0 for 2 with a walk. Strike.
Boy, if you could just harness what Pettitte had in his last outing and figure out why this performance is different from that performance, you'd be onto something, wouldn't you?
We'd all be very wealthy.
But early in the year when Andy was struggling, it was because of all the inconsistencies that he was taking out there with him. When he did have the runner or the hitter down in the count, 0-2, 1-2, he'd throw one of those hangers and he'd get hurt on it.
And the 0-2 stays alive. Now we'll check out some of the matchups upcoming, whether you'd rather use Maselli or Reyes. And the 0-2. Line drive right at Wilson. And the Yankees are out of the inning. Reed Johnson doubled over in pain when the ball landed in the glove of Enrique Wilson. He thought he had a 2 RBI single. He just crumples to the ground. 1 run in, it's 5-5 if we go to the 7th. We go to the 7th inning. Yankees 5 and the Blue Jays 5. And Bernie Williams will lead off against Trever Miller. Popped up foul. Williams 1 for 3. Yankees with a run in the first and 4 in the second have been shut down since then as the Blue Jays have chipped away to a 5-5 tie. And we head to the final third. There's a strike.
Without that hole in that picket fence out there, I mean, they got a run in every inning except for the 5th inning.
Upstairs.
The Blue Jays have the kind of offense, and they have the confidence in their offense that if they do fall behind, especially early in the game, that they can always fight back and they can score a lot of runs in a hurry. I mean, they've got some guys that get a couple of men on one swing of the bat. They've got 3 runs.
Line drive, base hit by Bernie Williams. Reed Johnson fields it deep. Bernie takes a round first. And a leadoff single here in the 7th inning for Bernie Williams. Let's take a look at the Ford game summary brought to you by your Tri-State Quality Ford store with the best-selling vehicles in America. 5-10-2 Yankees, 5-9-0 Jays. Jeter 2 for 3, 2 ribbies, 2 runs scored. Soriano 2 for 4, an RBI and a run scored. Top of the Yankee order has done the job. Bottom of the Blue Jay order has done the job. Woodward 2 for 2, a home run and 2 runs batted in. Wasdin started for the Jays. He was awful. Andy Pettitte still in there. 6 innings, 9 hits, 5 runs, 3 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Here's Hideki Matsui, and the pitch is a strike. Matsui with a double right off Wasdin to drive in a run in the 1st inning, but he has flied to center and struck out after that. Will be the starting center fielder for the American League team in the All-Star game on Tuesday. Pitch is outside. See the controversy here in Toronto about the All-Star game, Bobby, with Roy Halladay?
Yeah.
Roy Halladay is going to pitch on Saturday on 3 days rest so that Carlos Tosca could get Halladay and Kelvin Escobar one more start before the break. And when they put him in on Saturday, Runner goes, and the pitch is swung and grounded through the right side for a base hit. Bernie Williams will go to third. The throw comes into second, so the second base hit of the night for Matsui. And the Yankees are set up, runners on the corners, and nobody out.
Yeah, good hit and run by Matsui and Bernie Williams. I think that Joe felt like that Matsui may not be swinging the bat that well against Trever Miller. He's a pretty hard guy to put the bat on. But if you do put it on and you got the runner moving, you got a chance to stay out of the double play. Well, it even worked out better than that. They got a base hit. Now they have men at first and third and nobody out. I still don't think Bernie is running 100%. He's still a little bit ginger on that knee.
Here's Posada, and the pitch is swung and missed. Anyway, that Halladay story, Carlos Tosca told Mike Scioscia you can't use Halladay in the All-Star game, although he was chosen. And Scioscia said, well, you know, I don't need a guy in a game that counts that can't even pitch. So Major League Baseball got in touch with the president of the Blue Jays, Paul Godfrey. And Godfrey told Major League Baseball Halladay could pitch 1 inning. So he overruled his manager. And what it comes down to is Major League Baseball wants to make this a showcase. And as they've been saying, they want it to count. So Tosca had to say, okay, use him for 1 inning, but that's it.
And pretty much the same, I think, for every ball club. Carlos Tosca would say, look, you know, I'm more worried about the season and trying to win this American League East. And I've got my guy pitching on Saturday. And he's already been pitching on 3 days rest. So he's going to be a little bit tired. And he won't be available for you.
And they also wanted to pitch him on Thursday, the first game after the All-Star break. And now they might not be able to. It's gonna, you know, one thing, Bobby. I know Major League Baseball wants to make a big deal out of the All-Star game. But God forbid that Roy Halladay got hurt on Tuesday. Then how would they feel that they're forcing the Blue Jays to let him pitch? A little bit low.
It's a tough situation because Tosca and the Blue Jays are in probably the toughest stretch that they're going to be in all year long with these 12 games back to back with the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees. They're trying to stay in this American League East race. They're 8 games out now. And without that guy there, they're done. So I know, you know, it's a rock between a rock and a hard place. Everybody wants to be a part of the All-Star game, but to put the importance on the All-Star game more so over the season, I don't know about that.
A walk to Posada, and the bases are loaded. And Bobby, here we go again. Robin Ventura comes up with the bases loaded.
You've got an affection for the bases loaded. There's no doubt about that. But it looks like Joe's going to go to the bench, and that'll probably bring on the right-hander Scott Service.
Well, that's a move that Joe has to make. He's trying to break this tie, and Robin Ventura, another 0 for 3 night. 0 for his last 20, 1 for his last 24. And it looks like Joe is going to send Ruben Sierra out to pinch hit for Ventura, which means that it's hard for Tosca to match up because Ventura is a switch, should I say Sierra is a switch hitter.
Well, he's a switch hitter. Also, you know, Joe Torre would have the option to make another switch if he wanted to. He's got Garcia on the bench. He's got Curtis Pride on the bench. And that's what we were talking about earlier in the game, that Joe Torre now, with the depth that he has on his bench, I mean, he can make a lot of moves and still be on top. At least still have what he would call the best matchup.
Well, Tosca takes the ball from Miller. They will go to the bullpen and bring on the right-hander. So Yankees have the bases loaded. Game is tied at 5, and they'll try to break the tie when we get back. Well, they bring in Scott Service. Carlos Tosca really massaging that bullpen, trying to keep his Blue Jays in a 5-5 tie. And Service does not come into a great situation, Bob.
He does not, and we talked about the Blue Jays bullpen before this game started. They've got a 6.75 earned run average over the last 7 games. And they've blown a couple of saves, so they have not been pitching well, except for the way that Kirshner has pitched tonight. He kept them in the game till this inning.
Bernie Williams at third. Hideki Matsui at second. Jorge Posada at first. Bases loaded, nobody out, top of the 7th inning. Sierra pinch hitting for Ventura. Switch hitter batting from the left side against the righty Service. And there's a strike on the outside corner.
Good pitch by Scott Service. You got to figure that the hitter is looking for something hard and fast, especially with the bases loaded. Try to drive something in the outfield. He took that lot off that breaking ball for strike one.
Count evens up at 1-1. Mondesi is on deck. Just out on the outside part of the plate as Sierra fouls it back. So services work to 1-2. And the pitch. He struck him out, kept the ball away from Sierra. And Sierra swings at a pitch probably out of the strike zone. One away.
Well, we'll take a look how Service took care of Sierra, the two breaking balls to start him off with. And then the fastball, which he fouled off. And then he came back with a changeup. Everything on the outside part of the plate and moving away.
Now here's an interesting move or non-move by Joe Torre.
Yeah.
You know that the left-handers are gone in the bullpen for the Blue Jays. They use Kirshner and Miller. That's all they have. So all they have out there are righties. Mondesi has been slumpy. He has a hit tonight, but you have Kareem Garcia on the bench, and they elect to stay with Mondesi. And he pops it up foul, first base side behind the plate, and right on top of the Yankee dugout. And
Mondesi 0 for 16 with runners in scoring position. So there you have on the bench. You got two left-handers. You got a Todd Zeal and also John Flaherty, two right-handers and two lefties.
So the count is 0-1 on Mondesi. Enrique Wilson is on deck. Keeps it away and blocked there by Wilson. Count 1-1. And that is also such an even switch. If you send up Garcia, he just goes and plays right. You don't have to burn that many people with the move.
Good play by Wilson, just knocking that ball down. That was a breaking ball.
Just missed him inside with a breaking ball, and the count 2-1.
Well, Mondesi obviously getting a vote of confidence from Joe Torre in this situation.
Big time. Strike on the inside corner. Another breaking ball. Mondesi kind of shrugged his shoulder, and the count 2-2.
I think Mondesi thought it was going to be inside, and it catches the inside part of the plate, according to Darling.
And the 2-2. Another breaking ball inside, although Wilson was set up way outside, and Service really missed that location. And the count now full of 3-2, and there's no place to put Mondesi. No love lost between Tosca and Mondesi, and that's one of the reasons that Mondesi was traded to the Yankees. He did not like Tosca, said that Tosca had no professional baseball experience and didn't understand managing major league players. The 3-2. Breaking ball just missed inside. Service wanted it. The crowd wanted it. But Mondesi walks. Coming home is Bernie Williams, and the Yankees lead 6-5.
Mondesi battling a service, and this was close to being the same type of pitch that Darling called for a strike. And he went 3-2 with the breaking ball and tried to sneak it on the inside part of the play, but it was too far inside.
For Mondesi, his 44th run batted in. And now here's Enrique Wilson. Keeps throwing breaking balls and just missing. Six-5 Yankees lead. We're in the top of the 7th. Looking for more. Bases loaded, 1 out. Line foul. Yankees have 11 hits and 6 runs. The Blue Jays 9 hits and 5 runs. Yankees have committed 2 errors in the field. Wilson starting at third tonight and batting ninth, 1 for 3. The one, a drag bunt single in the second inning. 1-1. Backdoor breaking ball misses. 2-1. There's nobody up in the Blue Jay bullpen. This is Service's jam to get out of right now. Runners on second and third are the responsibility of Trever Miller. Mondesi, well, Scott Service will take credit for that. The 2-1. Hit sharply and through the right side for a base hit. Matsui scores. Here comes Posada. Here's the throw. Posada's out by plenty. And the runners move up to third and then to second. So an RBI single for Wilson, and the Yankees lead 7-5, but the second out is made on the throw by Jason Worth.
Good clutch hit by Enrique Wilson. But Jason Worth with a strong arm in right field and a perfect throw. No chance you could see Matsui trying to tell Posada to get down, and Posada decided not even to try to slide or run over him or whatever. He was out so far.
Second and third now with 2 outs. Here's Soriano, a big at bat in this game. And the breaking ball just missed. The doubles by Soriano in the second and the 6th, and then he was robbed of a base hit on a brilliant diving stab by Eric Hinsky for the final out of the 3rd inning. Mondesi trying to distract Service, possibly buy a balk out of it. And the pitch is inside, 2-0. Well, they've used Kirshner, they've used Miller, they've used Service and Dan Reichert. And the remainder of the bullpen, all right-handers: Acevedo, Lopez, Sturtz, and Thurman.
Well, Thurman pitched 3 innings yesterday. He's probably not eligible to pitch tonight.
And the count 3-0. And Gil Patterson quickly going to the bullpen. They have to stop the bleeding right here, but it might be too late. They will not be able to get a pitcher ready before Jason, or should I say Derek Jeter, comes up. There's a strike, and they're getting up Aquilino Lopez.
And that's a good sign that Scott Service doesn't have any confidence in his fastball, because he was 3-0 through the breaking ball to try not to give a good pitch to Soriano. If he went 3-1 or 3-0, he's got to go 3-1. That's exactly what he did. And I would be surprised now. He's tried 2 of those breaking balls away from Soriano. He tried to get Mondesi out with those backdoor breaking balls on the inside part of the plate. He may throw it inside this time.
Foul down the left field line. As a batter, Do you have a tendency now to overthink and say, well, he keeps getting me on breaking balls, he's going to try to sneak a fastball in?
No,
try to outthink the pitcher?
I think you have to always look for the fastball, because if you're looking for the breaking ball, you can't adjust to the fastball. But if you look for the fastball and he still throws the breaking ball, you can adjust to that. So you still always have to look for the fastball. Pettitte doing some shadow pitching down the tunnel.
3-2. Popped up. Shallow right. Hudson puts it away for the final out of the inning. But the Yankees break the tie. They scored 2 runs, 3 hits, no errors, 2 men left at the end of 6.5. Get up and stretch. 7-5 Yankees lead. Well, the Yankees are getting Andy Pettitte another lead. And Andy Pettitte faces the heart of the Blue Jay order here in the bottom of the 7th inning, starting with Vernon Wells. And that one's popped up. Right side of the infield. 1 pitch and 1 out as Giambi makes the play. Tonight after the game, the Big Brother house guests are competing for $500,000. But this time their exes have moved in on their game. Brace yourself for the X Factor and one explosive summer of television. Don't miss an all-new Big Brother right after tonight's game. Here's Carlos Delgado. Delgado 2 for 3 against Pettitte. RBI single in the 3rd inning, driving in his 95th run. He's only the 9th player in big league history to have over 90 runs batted in at the All-Star break. Of all the players who have ever played, he's only the 9th. Pitches outside.
I just kind of showed, kind of shows you that how hard it is and the kind of production that you got to have before the All-Star break. I mean, 90 RBIs, 85 RBIs is a full year for most guys.
If he could somehow squeeze 5 more ribbies out of this series, he'll be one of only 3 players in history to have 100 ribbies at the break. Hank Greenberg and Juan Gonzalez, the others. Driven the other way, foul. Now this week, or this year, the All-Star game actually is a week later than it usually is. So they'll have about, I guess, 90 games in rather than 81. It's not the exact halfway point.
Well, this is the 93rd game for Toronto. So it'll be 95 games before they get to the All-Star break. The All-Star game usually is played around the 80-81 game mark. So that they've always kind of tagged that as being the halfway mark in the season when the All-Star break gets here.
One, 2. Yankees lead 7-5. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. Mella's been looking through that book all night. And the matchup with Pettitte with Delgado is not a good one. But he's worked the count 2-2.
Delgado from Pettitte, you know, that low and away and then high and tight. You get into looking out over the plate, and that's when you can bust him up with the fastball.
That's exactly what he did, Bobby, as Delgado goes down on strikes.
This is how Andy pitched Delgado. That was a breaking ball outside part of the plate. Another breaking ball that way down, and Delgado fishing outside. Then he tried to go inside. Didn't bite on the breaking ball again, and then threw the fastball by.
He had him looking low and away, and he came up and in. There's Tom Wilson, 1 for 3 against Pettitte. Pitches outside, 1-0. fastball for a strike, 1-1. Pettitte is ready to throw. Wilson trying to slow him down by stepping out. 1-1. Strike on the outside corner. In all likelihood, this is Pettitte's last inning. Danny Maselli is ready out in the bullpen just waiting, but once they get to the 8th inning, Joe Torre might change his mind on who to bring in the 8th, and then he'll have Mariano close it out in the 9th.
Well, the clicker really becomes pretty important right now. You can see Joe, I think he asked Mel how many pitches Pettitte had thrown up until that time, and Mel looked down at that clicker. That's how they keep the count.
This will be Pettitte's 120th. 78 strikes, 41 out of the zone. And the 1-2. Fouled away.
How could you see 120 on that clicker?
Got great eyesight.
Boy, you do have great eyes.
Knock on wood.
Pretty difficult for me to see that. Oh, I see now how you see. Sure.
120 right there.
121 now.
No, this will be 121. Now he's going to bang another one. 1-2. I wonder how many pitching coaches over the years have just not clicked every now and then. Because I wonder if a pitcher gets tired because he knows he's at 120 and he sees the number, and if he sees 110 but it's really been 120, if he'd be less tired, how much of it's mental?
Well, you know how many pitching coaches, if a pitcher comes in and asks him how many pitches he has thrown, tells him the truth.
I wonder.
The clicker may be true, but whether the pitching coach tells him he has the right amount of pitches, you know, that's a possibility.
Line drive caught by Giambi. Beautiful play by Jason Giambi for the final out of the inning. Giambi showing some hops. And a 1-2-3 inning for Andy Pettitte. How about this? That's Andy Pettitte's first 1-2-3 inning of the game. And it took quite an effort by Giambi to pull it off. We go to the 8th. 7-5. Yankees lead the Blue Jays. Don't miss the next CBS 2 Yankees game when Cleveland comes to the Bronx. Yankees-Indians next Friday night at 7, right here on CBS 2, the official broadcast home of the New York Yankees. Well, Joe Torre and Mel Stottlemyre have made their decision. That's it for Andy Pettitte. Moments ago, Andy came into the dugout, and he got his congratulations from everybody involved.
That
Joe likes what he sees.
Yeah, that look on Joe's face kind of says, Andy, I know you know, and we know that you didn't have your good stuff tonight, but you still battled and you kept us in there, and you leave with a 2-run lead.
Now the Yankee bullpen will have to hold it, and that's something that the Blue Jays bullpen was not able to do in the previous inning. So Jeter leads off, and guess what? He takes a breaking ball from Scott Service. 7-12-2 Yankees, 5-9-0 for the Blue Jays. Count 0-2. Let's take a look at the in-game box score. Soriano's 2 for 5, a ribby and a run scored. Jeter 2 for 3, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. Giambi 1 for 4, a double and a ribby. Bernie Williams 2 for 4 with a run scored. Matsui 2 for 4, breaking out of his slump, an RBI and a run scored. And all the way to the bottom, Enrique Wilson 2 for 4 with a ribby and a run scored, as Jeter down on strikes, breaking ball down and away.
Well, Scott Service gets you in the hole 0-2, and then he can really break one of those curveballs off. And of course, when you got 2 strikes, then you got to try to protect the plate. That's a pretty good bite to it. That's one of the best ones that he's thrown tonight.
Giambi hits one deep to right. Forget about it. See ya. A long home run by Jason Giambi, and the Yankees lead 8-5. His 24th home run, 2nd RBI of the night, 67th on the year, and that was out in an eye blink.
After all those curveballs to everybody else, he throws a fastball first pitch to Jason Giambi, and you can see where it lands. Now you know why Service doesn't have a whole lot of confidence in that fastball. It's only around 84, 85 miles an hour. And no doubt about it, as Michael called it. Oh, it's fun to be able to hit those kind of home runs, and you go back to the dugout and tell everybody just how you did it.
Well, Carlos Tosca's seen enough of Scott Service. Jason Giambi actually liked what he saw. They go to the bullpen. We'll be back. Stay right here. Well, the Blue Jays go to Aquilino Lopez. It is the 6th pitcher used by Carlos Tosca tonight. John Wasdin started, then 5 out of the bullpen.
You see those 45 strikeouts. That leads all the American League rookies pitchers with 45 strikeouts.
A lot of walks. Jason Giambi relaxing after his 24th home run. Bernie Williams chops one foul.
You know, they keep all kinds of stats today, Michael. Lopez tonight breaks the club record for appearances by a Rule 5 pick.
That's an obscure record. There's a record for everything. Hit sharply to short. Chris Woodward. 2-way. And that brings up Hideki Matsui. Matsui with 2 hits today. And there's a strike from Lopez. Matsui came in 1 for his last 19. You know he wants to go into the All-Star game with over a 300 batting average. Another strike and the count 0-2.
Shoot, you'd want to go anywhere with a 300 batting average.
See the double here. Fly ball to center, strikeout, and a single. That's how the scorecard looks. Ground ball to third. Hinsky. And they just get Matsui hustling down the line for the final out of the inning. But the Yankees get another run, and they do it in a very, very impressive fashion. 1 run on this 1 hit. It was out before you could say it. Giambi's 24th home run. We go to the bottom of the 8th. 8-5 Yankees. Well, that will do it for Andrew Eugene Pettitte. Andy Pettitte threw 123 pitches, 82 strikes, and they turn it over to Danny Maselli, and he will pitch the 8th inning, and the Yankees want him to pitch this inning and turn it over to Mariano Rivera.
Well, he'll have a 3-run lead to try to get to Mariano in the 9th inning. You see Maselli's numbers: 36 hits and 39 innings pitched, 38 strikeouts in those 39 innings. So Maselli has done a pretty good job.
Now this inning tomorrow will likely be pitched by Antonio Osuna. Osuna will rejoin the team after being on the DL for the 2nd time this year with a groin problem. And the Yankees will not have to make a roster move because David Wells yesterday flew back to San Diego. Line drive right back to Maselli, knocks it down and throws it past Giambi as Catalanato, who was pinch hitting for Worth, will go to second. That's where he'll stop. Now they want to see if Maselli's okay.
Well, he may not have had a good grip on the baseball. I know the ball, I think, caught him on the shin or the leg or the knee. Gene Monahan, the head trainer, out to talk to Maselli. We'll take a look at it. It's a Frank Catalanato. And it looked like the right thigh. He never got the glove down. So it was a solid hit, but a bad throw. Did he have a good grip? It looked like he did. And a lot of times, you know, you'll slow your motion down when you have a lot of time to throw the runner out at first and you don't get your arm in the proper position, you let it go and it's high and wide.
Also, maybe he was in so much pain he just didn't plant the right way.
Obviously, he wasn't in that much of pain. He's going to stay in there. He seems to be all right.
Danny Maselli always looks like he's in pain. He has that look, like he's ticked off or he's in pain.
He's got that reliever look.
And here's Eric Hinsky. So Catalanato gets on base via the E1. Yankees' third error of the night. Finished a point about Osuna. He will rejoin the team. And David Wells, who is in San Diego for a memorial service for his grandfather, is leaving the team on bereavement, which means you have to be away at least 3 days, maximum of 7. And while you're away on bereavement, somebody could come up and fill your spot in the rotate or on the roster, and that's what Osuna is going to do. But once Wells comes back, they'll have to make a roster move to get back to 25.
At least gives Joe an additional pitcher down the bullpen. And it really works out to be a pretty good deal for the Yankees because David Wells being a starter, he wouldn't be used until after the All-Star break anyway. Joe Torre wants Posada to go out and see if Maselli's all right. He's fallen behind here 3-0. And you know, that right leg, that's the one that you brace on when you deliver the baseball. So Joe wants to make 100% sure that Maselli's all right. Joe's going to go out there anyway, I think, and talk it over again with Maselli. Here comes Gene Monahan, the trainer. He's not so sure Maselli would tell the truth. I mean, Maselli's trying to make his statement here with the Yankees. He's getting a shot to play on a first place ball club, and Joe's not going to take any chances.
And you can see what Joe was saying in the dugout, Bobby. He has no balance. He's not pushing off. And that's where it hit him right above the right knee, lower thigh, upper knee. And I'm sure Joe's not thrilled that Maselli didn't say, I'm not right. But what Bobby just said is true. Maselli's trying to earn his points here on the Yankees. And he's limping.
Yeah, he's limping a little
slightly.
Well, the best thing you can do, and I think Joe knows this, is to get him into the clubhouse. Get some ice on that. We'll take another look at it. That's where he's hit. And it's a solid hit right on the right thigh.
Well, the Yankees are going to bring in Mariano Rivera to get 6 outs. Stay right here on CBS 2.
Well, back here at Skydome, it's kind of unusual for Joe Torre to go to Mariano Rivera for 6 outs. But when you're facing a tough ball club like this Toronto Blue Jay ball club, Joe, in between innings, was talking to Mariano. If you can read his lips, he's going to say, make sure you take your time and you're loose. With that injury to Maselli, Mariano has all the time in the world to make sure that he gets loose out there. And I think that Joe certainly wanted to reiterate that to Mariano. As you take a look at the record from Mariano Rivera, 15 saves, looking for his 16th. But I think one of the reasons for sure that Joe went to Mariano for those 6 outs is because this explosive offensive ball club from Toronto, the Yankees have lost 2 games in the standings already in that 2 out of 3 loss at Cleveland to Boston. And he wants to make darn sure that they can preserve this game tonight.
And the Red Sox have beaten the Tigers tonight. So if the Yankees don't win this game, it would be down to 1. And that is why he's using Rivera here for 6 outs. Even if he doesn't have to use him tomorrow, he's probably figuring to have Messina going. Messina might be able to give me 9. So Rivera inherits a 3-0 count. And the pitch is outside, so that's a walk to Hinsky. And now the Blue Jays will bring the tying run to the plate in the person of Orlando Hudson. And Hudson's just thrilled to be hitting from the left side because he's a much better hitter from the left side than he is from the right side. A 191 hitter from the right side. Runners on first and second. Now, for those that are new to the game, when Joe Torre said take your time and get loose, when you come in because of an injury, you could take as much time as you want on the mound to get loose. You could take an hour. I think people might not like that, but you could legally take an hour. Just as long as it takes to get loose, that's how long you can have. Grounded to third. There's one. There's two. Nice play by Enrique Wilson. A 5-5-3 double play as Hinske moves to second.
Well, that cutter, just doesn't allow that left-handed batter to get that bad head out. And Enrique Wilson with some quick reactions at third to step on it to force a runner and then throw back over to Jason Giambi to complete the double play.
Well, they're going to send up Howie Clark to pinch hit for Chris Woodward, and that's what's taking some time now in the Blue Jay dugout. So Woodward, who had such a good night, 2 for 2, a double, a home run, 2 runs batted in, and he also reached on a walk. His day is done as they'll bring up young left-handed hitter Howie Clark. And that's all that's left on the Blue Jay bench. The last catcher, Greg Myers, so you don't want to use him and then leave yourself with just one catcher. So Carlos Tosca's done everything he could possibly do.
Well, when you look at Tosca's scorecard, he also has a Mike Bordick listed on there, but Bordick is not in uniform. He is back home with his son, who's going through some surgery right now. So even though he's on the list, he's not available.
Runner at second with 2 outs, bottom of the 8th inning. 8-5 Yanks. Grounded foul.
There we go. Get another bat.
And he's just done all the pine tar and everything and has to do it again.
Well, Howie Clark, even though he's young, he's got to realize that Mariano has broken a lot of bats from lots of players.
Aren't you surprised, though, Bobby? Everybody knows that Mariano's tougher on lefties. Why wouldn't you let Woodward hit? All he does is break left-handers' bats with the cutter. It's harder for him to pitch to a righty.
Well, you'll have to ask Carlos Tosca about that.
I'm going to tomorrow.
I think they just play the percentages. You match up a left-handed bat against right-handed pitcher.
1-1. Foul back.
I mean, I've heard a lot of managers talk about that. Our manager used to, when Mike Cuellar used to pitch against us, when Cuellar was with Baltimore, the manager always said, well, we probably got a better chance of putting a left-handed lineup up there against him instead of putting right-hander, because he had a great screwball. But he wouldn't throw the screwball to the left-hander. He'd only throw it to the right-hander, and that was his out pitch against the right-hander. But they never did do it.
1-2. Chopped back to the mound. Mariano Fields fires, got him. Nice play by Mariano. Might have twisted his ankle.
Oh boy. May have hyperextended his knee. Oh my goodness.
Because he is walking gingerly off the field right now, but when he's set to throw, you could see he turned his ankle. Check it out right here.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Well, let's see if he comes out and pitches the 9th. No runs, an error, 1 man left. We go to the 9th. 8-5 Yanks. Well, we go to the 9th inning as the Yankees hold their breath with Mariano Rivera. Let's take a couple of looks at what happened on that play.
I think you got to take a look at the right ankle. Once he feels the ball right there, you see the ankle kind of twist out towards the third base bag. And then after that play, very gingerly, he hopped up a little bit. So watch the right ankle. Just as the ball comes down in the glove, you can see it as it twists out just a bit. Now, how severe is it? Only time will tell.
So Lopez will pitch the 9th. Posada leads off. There's a strike.
See it go down on the side. He was able to plant him. He was able to plant on that foot and throw back to Giambi for the final out. But that little hop right there indicated that, it did hurt a bit.
We're watching Mariano between innings, and he was tying his shoe, and Frank Catalanato takes over in left field. And Reed Johnson moves from left to right, replacing Jason Worth. And Mariano actually, after tying the shoe tightly, Howie Clark at short, went down the steps of the dugout and he went down in pretty good time, so it looked like the ankle was okay.
Yeah, that would be a good sign, in my opinion, that he was able to run down those steps in a hurry.
And Posada down looking, one away. Well, Mella's returned, so he's had his talk, and so is Gene Monahan. And nobody's warming in the Yankee bullpen, so Mariano will pitch. Remember, that ankle is the one he pushes off the rubber with, so it's got to be strong. Here's Ruben Sierra. Sierra pinch hit with the bases loaded, nobody out in the 7th, and struck out. Yankees lead 8-5. They led 5-1 after an inning and a half. Blue Jays chipped away, and finally tied it at 5-5 going into the 7th. But the Yankees 2 runs in the 7th and 1 in the 8th have given them an 8-5 lead. (2-0). Foul back. Red Sox beat the Tigers 5-3. Yankees hold on. The lead in the American League East remains at 2. And if the score remains the same, then the Blue Jays will have dropped 9 games out. And in 3 weeks, they would have lost 8 games in the standings. Nub slowly, third base side, but foul. As recently as June 23rd. That's about 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
They were a game behind the Yankees. And if they lose this game, they will have lost 11 of their last 13. And the 2-2 hit sharply and past a diving Delgado and into right field. So Sierra gets himself a 1-out single.
Delgado's been bothered by a bad knee himself, and his range at first base is not that great.
And that has never been his strength anyway. And then you make it worse with the balky knee. Here's Mondesi. Joe showed an incredible amount of faith in Mondesi in the 7th inning with 1 out and the bases loaded. He could have gone to Kareem Garcia. He let Mondesi hit against Scott Service, and Mondesi worked out a walk to drive in the tie-breaking run at that point, made it 6-5.
You know, those are all things that managers have to make the call on, obviously. But there are 25 different personalities down there in that dugout with Joe Torre. I mean, this is like a bunker. I mean, these guys are in a, they're in a war to win this American League East and then go on to possibly the World Championship. So you have to deal with certain people different ways. I mean, 25 different personalities. You just figure it out. I mean, you can't treat everybody the same way. And even though Mondesi popped off in the paper yesterday because he wasn't playing, and Joe had said that he wasn't going to play him in Toronto for the 3 days, doesn't mean you can't change your mind. And who knows, that may have been a little bit of psychology by Joe Torre too.
Just to tick him off.
Just to tick him off and to see how he was going to react. But I think Joe is only doing what he thinks is best for this ball club. In fact, I know that's what he does. You know, Mondesi has started in right field and played right field for Joe all year long. And then he ran into a little bit of a slump, and the Yankees strengthened their bench with some left-handed bats, so it makes it a little easier to take Mondesi out of the lineup when he's not hitting the ball well and struggling.
It's like he might have hurt his wrist. Keeps flexing it.
This is becoming pretty costly. Obviously, he hurt it bad enough to maybe not be able to hit. Here comes Joe. He wants to talk to Mondesi about the left wrist. And Gene Monahan out again, this time to talk to Mondesi. You know, Eric Hinske, we were talking about the hamate bone that he had broken in his right hand on a swing. And the trainers love to come out there, and if you've got a hurt wrist, they love to bend it back and forth to the side, see how you react. He did it on the swing. Couldn't tell anything from there. I mean, the extension with the right hand coming off the bat.
He is gingerly connecting the Velcro as if it hurts even to do that, but he's going to give it a try. Keeps flexing it.
And forget about what year it was when Roger Maris kept complaining about him having a sore hand and he wasn't swinging the bat. You know, it wasn't the same Roger Maris, and they finally found out he had a darn broken bone in his hand. But it took him a long time to find it. Same thing with Hinske. They didn't find his until about 2 or 3 times that they x-rayed the hand and found the small, you know, fracture in there, hairline fracture.
Yankees lead 8-5. We're in the top of the 9th inning here at Skydome, the beginning of the final series of the first half of the season, right before the All-Star break for the Yankees and the Blue Jays. He struck him out. 2-away. So Mondesi goes down. And we'll see if he stays in the play right field in the bottom of the 9th inning. Line drive right at Delgado. Enrique Wilson, who was 2 for 4, hit the ball right on the screws, but right at Delgado. No runs, a hit, no errors, and 1 man left. We go to the bottom of the 9th. Does Mondesi? We'll find out shortly. As we go to the bottom of the 9th inning, last licks for the Blue Jays. Also time to take a look at tonight's play of the game, brought to you by Continental Airlines.
And what a play it is. In the 8th inning, Jason Giambi lets it fly away. Number 24, as he extends the Yankee lead to 8-5.
And that was the play of the game, brought to you by Continental Airlines. Continental, work hard, fly right. So Raul Mondesi does stay in the game. And between innings, he talked quite a bit with Gene Monahan, who kept examining the area. He took the blue tape that he always has on, obviously in pain right there. But he is going to stay in right field. That's not the hand, obviously, that he throws with. That's the hand he has his glove on. But they are going to keep Mondesi in the game.
Well, Joe Torre asked him if he was all right to play, and he said yes. So that's the reason he's out there.
Shannon Stewart against Mariano Rivera, and the first pitch is inside. Rivera is pitching with a turned right ankle, which he suffered in the 8th inning, the last play of the bottom of the 8th. This is his 4th time this year that he's been asked to pitch 2 innings. The last time was June 28th at Shea against the New York Mets. It is amazing, this game. You could be rolling along and all of a sudden, boom, Danny Maselli gets hurt. Boom, Mariano Rivera turns his right ankle. Boom, all of a sudden the left wrist of Raul Mondesi is hurt on a swing. Very fragile nature of the game. The 2-0. There's a strike.
Well, the right ankle and the right foot is what Mariano pushes off on.
popped up right side. Giving it a look is Giambi, but that's well out of play.
I would say right now, by the way he has thrown these first 3 or 4 pitches, that there's no lingering effects. I mean, there could be something tomorrow. Maybe the ankle would swell up, but I'm sure after the game they'll put some ice on there, and he'll be checked by the doctor along with Mondesi. But I would say, as far as Joe Torre and Mel Stottlemyre, as they are seeing, that it looks pretty good.
Ground ball to Jeter. Across to Giambi, 1 away here in the 9th.
I mean, anything ever happened to Mariano again? They've been without him for several games already. You can see the push off on the right foot.
Looks like he's okay.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm no doctor, but a lot of times, you know, when guys are hurt and they have some distinct pain wherever it is, you can see them, they're kind of gingerly favoring it. But I see none of that from Mariano. When you hurt my feelings a lot of times, you know how gingerly I try to waltz around it.
But you still play. You still play. If
Well,
I
of course
hurt
I
your
do.
feelings.
Yeah, I'll be in there.
Gamer. And you know, I don't mean it. It's not meant with any, you know,
Malice.
malcontent. Or, yeah.
Well, you notice I'm still here. It's amazing what a check will do.
Mike Mussina will be here. 4 o'clock tomorrow. Mike Mussina against Roy Halladay, game 2 of this series. And that is what they would call a marquee pitching matchup. So we'll call it that as well. The 1-2. Foul back. Mussina 10-5, 3.14. Roy Halladay 12-2, 3.48. Halladay's going to Chicago for the All-Star game. Mike Mussina is not. David Wells is not. Mariano Rivera is not. And the 1-2. He struck him out. 2 away.
Neither is Roger Clemens.
And Roger Clemens is not.
I can't believe it.
So the Yankees 1 out away. It's not going to be an easy out to get. Vernon Wells and then Carlos Delgado. Wells 1 for 4, and there's a strike. That's the difference with Mariano this year. He doesn't throw the cutter away where you can extend your arms. He kind of starts it at you and then whispers it across the inside.
And he gets those right-handed hitters to raise their arms up, thinking it's going to be way inside, and that cutter cuts over the inside part of the plate for a strike. He also has added that two-seam fastball.
Right back to Mariano. This should do it. And it does. The Yankees win the game. And they take the first game of this 3-game set and hold on to their 2-game lead in the American League East. So the Yankees led 5-1. Blue Jays came back, tied it at 5-5, but the Yankees with 2 runs in the 7th and 1 in the 8th. They win it. 8 runs, 14 hits, and 3 errors for the Yankees. 5-9-0 for the Blue Jays. Andy Pettitte battled and got the win. He's 11-6. Trever Miller took the loss 1-1. The save goes to Rivera, a 2-inning job, his 16th of the year, and the time of the game an unmanageable 3 hours and 23 minutes. Jeter 2 for 4, 2 ribbies, and 2 runs scored. Giambi 2 for 5, a monster home run, a solo shot, and he drove in 2 runs. Well, thanks for watching Yankee Baseball on CBS 2. Special thanks to Kevin Smolin, John Moore, and John Filippelli. For everything Yankees and the most up-to-date news in the sports world, Sports Wrap Live is the place to be. Saturday and Sunday night at 11:35 after CBS 2 News at 11. And you got to see the next CBS 2 Yankees game when the Indians come to town. That's Yankees Cleveland next Friday night at 7 right here on CBS 2, the official broadcast home of the New York Yankees. Once again, the final score from Skydome here in Toronto, Ontario. The New York Yankees 8 and the Toronto Blue Jays 5. Coming up next, an all-new Big Brother. For Bobby Murcer, I'm Michael Kay saying see ya from Toronto. And now to Dana Tyler and Lou Young at the